One look at a human warship, the alien fleet froze in terror. Vera Prime, a young human settlement, orbited a quiet blue star, unaware that a shadow was moving toward them, a shadow that promised fear and destruction. In the void, an alien fleet moved with precision, hundreds of ships forming an enormous crescent. Their black hulls reflected no light, their engines silent but deadly. This fleet belonged to the Scifi, a species that had conquered dozens of star systems. They were confident. They were certain that humans would flee or surrender. Inside the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Alina Voss leaned over the holographic display, studying the incoming fleet. The human warship was small, sleek, and unfamiliar, an untested design, filled with innovations no alien had ever seen. Its silver hull shimmered faintly, edges sharp like a blade. To the human eye it looked fast. To the Scifi it was incomprehensible. "Captain," said First Officer Ryan Hale, standing straight, hands behind his back. His voice was calm, even in the presence of so much danger. "Sensors confirm the fleet's approach. They're large, heavily armed. There's no chance of avoiding them." Alina straightened, her eyes narrowing. "No, Ryan, there's always a chance. Humans never back down, we'll face them, and when they see us, they will hesitate." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Hesitate? Against a fleet 10 times our size?" "Exactly," Alina said, tapping the display. "They rely on fear, but fear of the unknown that works in our favor." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. Engineers monitored energy levels. Weapons officers checked targeting arrays. And communications officers kept open channels just in case the aliens attempted contact. Every movement was precise, but there was an electric tension in the air, a thrill of being outnumbered, yes, but also of being human. In the distance, the Scifi fleet transmitted signals, trying to analyze the human vessel. They were puzzled. The Defiant did not match any known warship pattern in their archives. Its energy signatures were erratic, almost playful, and it seemed to appear and disappear as if the stars themselves were hiding it. Admiral Clithar of the Scifi frowned. "What is this?" "This is no ordinary human craft. Deploy the scouts, probe it. I want to know what we face." The scouts moved closer, small but fast ships weaving between the massive battleships. They scanned the Defiant, sending streams of data back. The alien AI worked rapidly, but it could not make sense of the readings. Every calculation contradicted the last. The human vessel behaved in ways the Scifi had never seen. "Captain," said Ryan, "they're analyzing us. They do not understand our ship. It's confusing them." Alina smiled, a flash of excitement in her eyes. "Good. Confusion is the first step to victory." Suddenly, a voice boomed across universal comm channels translated by human software. It was Admiral Clithar himself. "Humans, you are surrounded. Surrender and we may spare your colonies." Alina leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. "We do not surrender. Humans do not surrender. You can try to intimidate us. You can try to scare us, but we will stand. And when we fight, we will win." There was a pause. For the first time, the Scifi hesitated. They were used to fear, to submission, to seeing entire populations tremble before their fleet. But this human, it spoke without fear. Its words carried a confidence that the aliens could not compute. Ryan glanced at Alina. "Do you think that will work?" "It already is," she said. "Watch." The human crew began preparations for the next move. Energy shields hummed. Gravity distortion generators warmed up. Every weapon was tested and ready, but hidden from view. The aliens could not see the Defiant's full capability. They could only guess. Meanwhile, the human warship moved, slowly but deliberately, toward the center of the Scifi fleet. It seemed small, fragile even, but every motion was purposeful. The alien fleet shifted, trying to adjust their formation. Something in the human vessel made them uneasy, a sense of unpredictability. From the bridge of the Defiant, Alina watched their reaction. "Look at them," she said softly. "They've never seen humans like this." They're calculating and confused. That hesitation is our advantage. They think we are alone, but we are more than that. We are human, and humans are always unpredictable. The aliens tried to regain composure. Clithar ordered a test strike, sending a wave of energy toward the Defiant. The human ship dodged easily, slipping between the beams as if it were dancing through the void. The Zerathi weapons overshot, hitting nothing but empty space. Ryan let out a low whistle. They've never seen anything like this. Elena nodded. And they never will, not until it's too late. As the Defiant closed the distance, it projected subtle holographic images, creating multiple copies of itself. The aliens blinked at the readings. Scanners indicated dozens of human ships, each moving with deadly precision. Panic rippled through the fleet. Their AI calculated that the humans had doubled, tripled, quadrupled in number. Admiral Clithar's tentacles tightened around the control console. Impossible! How can one ship do this? Elena spoke calmly over the comms, her voice steady and unwavering. One human ship is enough to stop your fleet. Remember that. The Zerathi hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Their entire battle plan relied on fear and intimidation, but the human vessel projected neither weakness nor panic. Instead, it radiated confidence, courage, and cunning. In that moment, the crew of the Defiant felt a surge of pride. Every human on board understood what was happening. They were about to prove that even a single human could stand against the galaxy's greatest powers. And so, the human warship moved forward, into the heart of a fleet that had never known fear, only to discover it in themselves. The aliens froze, the void silent except for the quiet hum of the Defiant's engines. Humanity had arrived, not as a prey, not as a servant, but as a force no one could predict and no one could ignore. Elena looked at her crew. Prepare for whatever comes next. The real test begins now. And with that, the Defiant sailed forward, a single shining testament to human courage, daring, and ingenuity, ready to face the Zerathi fleet head-on. The silence of space had lasted only moments. For the Zerathi fleet, those moments stretched like hours. Their massive warships drifted in formation, tens of thousands of kilometers apart, each waiting for a signal from Admiral Clithar. But there was no signal that made sense. The human vessel, the Defiant, moved with a confidence no one had anticipated. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Elena Voss studied the alien fleet through the main viewport. Every ship seemed enormous compared to hers, bristling with weapons she had never seen in human archives. Yet she felt no fear, only determination. "Ryan," she said, "let's show them why humans are never predictable." First Officer Ryan Hale nodded, fingers dancing across the console. "We can't take on all of them at once, but we can make them hesitate. That hesitation, it's our battlefield." "Exactly," Elena said. "And hesitation can kill." She pressed a command. The Defiant's stealth fields activated. The warship's hull shimmered, bending light around it. It seemed to disappear. Sensors on the human ship now picked up multiple readings. Alien scanners detected dozens of vessels, seemingly identical to the Defiant. Every time the Defiant moved, a copy moved in perfect synchronization. The aliens panicked. Their AI systems struggled to process the images. They had never faced an enemy that could multiply itself through illusion, confuse entire fleets with such simplicity, and move without predictability. Admiral Clithar's voice crackled over the comm. "Destroy the illusions. Find the real ship. Target it." A wave of alien torpedoes streaked through the void, bright streaks against the blackness. The Defiant's crew moved quickly. Engineers adjusted the gravity distortion generators, creating fields that warped incoming trajectories. The torpedoes veered off course, colliding harmlessly with empty space or each other. "Impressive," Ryan muttered. "They've never seen evasive maneuvers like this before." Elena smiled. "Good, keep them guessing." That is the first rule of human warfare. Never let the enemy know what you are going to do next. The human vessel darted forward, weaving between asteroid clusters. The Zerathi fleet followed cautiously, unsure whether the terrain concealed another trap. Every movement of the Defiant seemed to mock their strategy. Then came the first strike. A massive alien battleship fired a concentrated energy beam. Its glow lit up nearby asteroids like a miniature sun. The Defiant tilted, firing gravity torpedoes into the beam's path. The torpedoes warped space subtly, bending the alien energy beam away from the human ship. It passed harmlessly into empty space, dissipating in a flash of light. The crew cheered quietly. Every human aboard felt a surge of confidence. They were outnumbered, yes, but the aliens had already begun to make mistakes. Every error, every hesitation was a victory for ingenuity. Alina's voice cut through the bridge. Target the flagship. If we can shake the command center, the rest will crumble. The flagship of the Zerathi was enormous, twice the size of any other ship, bristling with weapons. Its hull gleamed darkly, reflecting starlight like black steel. To the humans it looked intimidating, but they were ready. The Defiant approached, moving like a phantom, dodging sensors and weaving through debris. Ryan activated the communication hijack protocol. Alien signals filled the bridge. "I've got access," he said, voice tense with excitement. "We can transmit fear." Alina nodded. "Do it. Let them hear themselves panic." The human software intercepted Zerathi fleet communications, analyzing their data. Then it rebroadcast the fleet's own panic signals. Every message of hesitation, confusion, or fear was amplified and returned to the aliens. Their systems interpreted it as even greater fear spreading through their ranks. On the alien flagship, Admiral Clithar's tentacles trembled slightly. What is happening?" "Their numbers, no. Our sensors are failing," Ryan grinned. "Admiral, you are about to find out what humans can do when cornered." The Defiant fired its first real strike. Energy torpedoes launched in a precise pattern, striking the alien battleship's shield array. The shields shimmered, then flickered, then failed in a narrow section. The flagship staggered, momentarily vulnerable. Alina held her breath. "Now everyone, all systems, focus fire." A synchronized wave of gravity pulses, plasma grids, and electromagnetic bursts erupted from the Defiant. The flagship rocked violently. Smaller vessels in the surrounding fleet hesitated, unsure whether to engage or retreat. The humans had turned a single warship into the center of a phantom fleet, and the aliens were reacting like prey caught in a trap. The battle raged, but always with human cleverness at the core. The Defiant never fired recklessly. Every shot, every maneuver was designed to exploit hesitation. A torpedo here, a holographic decoy there, a sudden burst of engine speed. Humans had turned unpredictability into a weapon. Even the smallest crew members contributed. A young communications officer, barely out of training, monitored alien AI signals, predicting movements before the Zerathi themselves understood them. A weapons engineer adjusted torpedo trajectory angles mid-flight, creating impossible paths the aliens couldn't calculate. Admiral Clithar screamed orders, but the fleet's cohesion was breaking. Ships collided. Their firing sequences faltered. Sensors went haywire. Their calculations, which had once guaranteed victory, now fed panic. Ryan looked at Alina. "They're frozen. We've done it." "They don't know what to do next." Alina's eyes were sharp, her mind racing. "Good. We are not done yet. Keep pressure. Let them feel human courage. Let them feel that even one human ship can terrify a fleet." The Defiant continued to maneuver like a shadow, striking the alien fleet with precision. Every ship that hesitated gave the humans an opening. Torpedoes found gaps in shields. Gravitational pulses sent smaller vessels spinning away. The aliens' confidence collapsed in waves. And then the moment came. The Defiant positioned itself directly in front of the Zerathi flagship. Its hull shimmered, light bending around it. The aliens froze, unable to decide whether to fire, retreat, or regroup. One by one, smaller alien commanders began retreating quietly, signaling the collapse of morale. Elena's voice rang out calmly over the universal comm. Your fleet is large. Your weapons are powerful, but humans are neither predictable nor weak. Leave now and we will allow peace. Stay and face the consequences. The silence that followed was deafening. Not one alien ship fired, not one moved. They were frozen by fear, not fear of destruction, but fear of the unknown, of human ingenuity, and of the courage they had never imagined in a single, small vessel. Ryan whispered, "Captain, they're not moving." Elena nodded, her face calm but determined. "That's right. They are learning what humans have always known. Courage is stronger than numbers. Strategy is stronger than fear. And one human can be enough to turn the tide of a battle." For the first time, the Defiant's crew allowed themselves to smile. Outnumbered, outgunned, yet unbroken. Humanity's ingenuity had turned an impossible situation into a demonstration of power and resolve. The Zirathi fleet drifted in the void, paralyzed. The humans had not destroyed them, but they had done something just as important. They had proven that no alien fleet, no matter how vast, could intimidate a human. And as the Defiant glided past the stunned flagship, Elena looked out at the frozen armada. Her voice was quiet but fierce. "We are human, and humans never surrender." The aliens had learned something in these moments that would ripple through their ranks forever. Never underestimate humanity. The battle was far from over. The aliens might regroup, might attack again. But the Defiant had already won something greater than victory in battle. It had claimed the fear of humanity, a force no calculation, no technology, and no fleet could ever predict. Ryan placed a hand on the console, eyes wide. "Captain, what do we do next?" Elena's eyes gleamed. "Next we make them choose. Surrender, retreat, or face destruction. The galaxy is watching, and humanity will not be ignored." The Defiant sailed on, a single ship against an armada, demonstrating that courage, intelligence, and ingenuity could freeze a fleet in terror. The humans were not just surviving, they were proving that they could stand against the greatest powers of the universe. And so, in the cold expanse of space, a small warship carried the greatest weapon of all, human spirit. The Zirathi fleet hung motionless in the void, a massive, glittering armada of ships that should have been unstoppable. Yet not one ship dared to move. Their engines idled, their weapons aimed but inactive, their commanders frozen in indecision. The humans had achieved the impossible. A single warship had brought terror to thousands of alien vessels. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Elena Voss leaned over the display, studying the fleet. Her crew worked efficiently, but there was a quiet tension in the air. They had won battles, but the war was not yet over. Any sudden movement from the aliens could spark chaos. "Ryan," Elena said, "we need to give them a choice. Fear has frozen them, but hesitation alone will not end this. We need to make them understand that humans will not be pushed aside." First Officer Ryan Hale nodded. "Agreed. How do you propose we do that?" Elena's eyes glimmered with resolve. "We show them the consequences, not by destroying but by proving we can. That is human strength." The crew prepared for the next phase. Stealth fields were activated and the ship's systems hummed with latent power. This was no longer just a battle of weapons. It was a battle of will. The Defiant was a symbol of human courage, ingenuity, and unpredictability. The flagship of the Zirathi remained the center of attention, massive and intimidating. Admiral Clithar stared out at the human warship, tentacles trembling slightly. "Impossible," he whispered. "They are only one ship. How can one ship do this?" Elena's voice carried over universal comms, calm and steady. "Admiral Clithar, your fleet is large, your weapons are strong, but fear will not save you. Humanity is not a species to surrender. You have a choice: withdraw peacefully or face consequences you cannot imagine." A low murmur ran through the Zirathi fleet. Their AI attempted to predict the next move, but the algorithms failed. They were trapped between fear and caution, unable to act. Every hesitation reinforced the human's advantage. Ryan activated the neural interference beacon, a human invention designed to disrupt alien decision-making patterns temporarily. The device emitted pulses of energy that scrambled the Zirathi fleet's AI and communications networks. Ships jerked as internal systems faltered. They spun slightly, fired inaccurate shots, and collided with minor vessels. Chaos was spreading without a single human weapon striking directly. "Look at that," Ryan said, eyes wide. "We're controlling them without even touching them." Elena smiled. "That's how humans win. Not with overwhelming numbers, but with strategy, intelligence, and courage. They cannot predict us, and that is why they fear us." The flagship trembled as smaller ships around it hesitated. Panic was spreading, but Clithar refused to admit defeat. "They cannot hold us off forever," he growled. "We must attack. We must—" Before he could finish, the Defiant executed a sudden maneuver. It appeared to vanish, slipping behind the flagship with impossible speed. The humans did not fire, yet the effect was clear. The Zirathi fleet interpreted the movement as a flanking attack from multiple human ships. Their sensors reported dozens of warships converging. The panic became audible even across comm channels. Orders collided. One commander shouted to retreat, another to attack, another to hold formation. The fleet fractured, unable to maintain coherence. Ryan grinned. "Admiral, they don't even know what they're doing anymore. Look at them, every calculation is wrong." Elena nodded, calm and focused. "Now we give them one final choice. Admiral Clithar, the decision is yours. Withdraw your fleet or face destruction. The humans are ready. The galaxy is watching. Choose wisely." Clithar's tentacles tightened around his console. He could feel the panic spreading through his commanders. They were losing control, losing confidence. Their weapons systems, brilliant in theory, were failing. The humans had turned every expectation upside down. For the first time, Clithar's pride battled with reason. To retreat would mean humiliation, a blemish on his record that could never be erased. To fight could mean the destruction of his entire fleet, a total disaster he could not risk. He paused, weighing the options. Finally, he made his choice. "Fall back," he commanded, voice trembling. "Withdraw now." The Zirathi fleet hesitated for one long moment, then engines roared as ships began retreating. The humans did not fire. They did not pursue. The victory was complete through strategy, courage, and the reputation of unpredictability. On the Defiant, the crew exhaled in relief and triumph. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious without mass destruction. Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Ryan, humanity just proved something important. One ship, one crew, one species can change the course of a battle without firing a single fatal shot." Ryan nodded, eyes shining. "They'll never forget this. The galaxy will never forget this." Indeed, far across the cosmos, transmissions began to spread. Word of the frozen Zirathi fleet traveled faster than light. Humans had shown that courage, intelligence, and creativity could face even the greatest powers. One human ship had frozen a fleet in terror, and that story became legend almost immediately. But Elena knew this was only the beginning. "Prepare for possible pursuit," she said. "They may come back, but next time they will think twice, and humanity will be ready." The crew resumed normal operations, though their spirits were high. Engineers checked systems, weapons officers recalibrated arrays, and communications officers logged reports of the alien retreat. Each human aboard understood the significance of what had just occurred. Humanity had proven itself in a way no alien could predict. Ryan walked to Elena's side, looking out at the retreating fleet. "Captain, do you think they'll ever come back?" Elena's gaze did not waver. "Perhaps, but if they do, they will remember what humans can do, and when they remember, they will hesitate, and hesitation can win battles. The stars reflected off the Defiant's hull, a silent witness to human courage. The warship glided through the void, a single testament to ingenuity and spirit, carrying humanity's message to the galaxy. We are here, we are clever, and we do not bow to fear. Hours passed as the Zirathi fleet vanished over the horizon, and the Defiant sailed unchallenged. Alina allowed herself a quiet moment of pride. She knew the galaxy had changed in those hours, that humans had proven their worth. One ship had done what thousands of others might have failed to achieve. The crew gathered on the bridge, silent but united in understanding. They had faced an entire alien fleet and emerged victorious, not through sheer numbers, not through reckless power, but through intelligence, courage, and unyielding spirit. Ryan placed a hand on the console. "Captain, they'll remember this. They'll tell stories about the Defiant for generations." Alina nodded. "And not just the stories, they'll feel it. Fear is contagious, and humans have just shown the galaxy that we are not afraid. That is the true power of our species." As the Defiant continued its journey back to Vera Prime, stars streaming past, the human crew reflected on what had been accomplished. They had not destroyed the Zirathi fleet. They had done something far greater. They had frozen it in terror. They had proven that human courage, ingenuity, and unpredictability were forces that could not be measured or controlled. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Humans may be small, but their spirit was unstoppable. Their resolve, unbreakable. Their mind, unpredictable. And one human warship could stop a fleet. Alina gazed out into the endless void. The stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the triumph of one species over overwhelming odds. And somewhere, far across space, alien commanders would remember the terror of that single human ship, the Defiant, and the crew who had dared to challenge a galaxy's might, and won. The Defiant moved forward, alone but unbowed, carrying humanity's message across the stars. One human is enough to change everything.